Have you ever woken up in the morning, placed your feet on the ground, and just paused, not because you wanted to, because your knees didn't want to bend, because your hips begged for another minute, because somewhere between the dreams and the dawn, your joints stiffened like rusted hinges? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. For so many people after 60, this has become a daily ritual. But what if I told you honestly from experience that it doesn't have to stay that way? Now, I'm not offering you a magic potion or some expensive new drug. I'm talking about a simple natural leaf, one that's been used for centuries but mostly forgotten in modern life. And yes, some people swear that rubbing this one leaf on your aching joints each night has helped them sleep soundly and wake up feeling years younger. That might sound unbelievable, but stay with me. Because once we look at what cartilage really needs to regenerate and how inflammation works against us, you'll see that nature has given us more tools than we realize. And today we're going to talk about how a humble plant, combined with thoughtful care, can make a real difference in how you move, how you sleep, and how you feel in your own body. Before we dive into that leaf, let's talk about what's really going on inside those joints. You see, cartilage is like the cushion between our bones. It's smooth, flexible, and allows easy movement. But over the years, as we age, it starts to wear down. Sometimes from injuries, sometimes from years of use, sometimes just from inflammation that builds up and never truly goes away. And when that happens, bone starts to rub on bone. That's where the pain begins. Now imagine trying to fix that while you're tossing and turning at night. The body needs rest to repair itself. And if you're not sleeping deeply, if every shift in bed reminds you of a sore hip or creaky knee, then your healing is already at a disadvantage. That's why the idea of using a natural remedy before bedtime is so powerful. You're giving your body a fighting chance to do what it does best: heal. Let's start with one of the most overlooked techniques, using ginger essential oil. It might not be a new idea, but most people don't realize just how potent ginger is when it comes to deep joint repair. This isn't just about smelling nice or feeling warm. Ginger contains compounds that actively block inflammatory messengers in your body, the very chemicals that tell your joints to swell up and ache. When applied topically, especially when diluted in a gentle carrier oil like almond or coconut oil, ginger does something incredible. It draws blood flow to the area. That warmth you feel, that's not just comfort, it's the start of recovery. Increased circulation means more oxygen, more nutrients, and faster removal of the waste products that inflamed joints tend to hoard. I remember a woman I worked with named Clara, 74, who started using a ginger oil blend on her knees every night after dinner. She said the first night she felt a little warmth, and by the third night, her evening walks with her dog didn't end with her leaning against the fence groaning. That may sound simple, but if you felt chronic joint pain, you know how big a change that really is. Now let's talk about another easy but powerful method: warm, extra virgin olive oil massage. This one is so accessible, many seniors don't take it seriously. But I'm here to tell you, when used right, it works wonders. Olive oil isn't just heart healthy, it's packed with antioxidants that directly reduce inflammation in tissues. When gently warmed and massaged into your skin, it not only lubricates stiff joints, but also helps your body relax on a deeper level. What most people forget is that pain isn't just physical, it's emotional. When your body hurts, your mind follows. And when you take the time each night to massage olive oil into your joints, you're doing more than fighting inflammation. You're building a habit of care, a moment of calm, a message to your nervous system that says you're safe, you're healing, and there's something else, something deeper. Most people don't realize that the way we touch our own bodies matters. A gentle, intentional touch can shift our stress levels, reduce cortisol, and trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your body's healing mode. That's when the regeneration begins. And when you pair that calm with the rich nutrients of olive oil, you're doubling the benefit. No chemicals, no side effects. Just care, warmth, and daily practice. Finally, I want to bring up something ancient, simple, and shockingly effective: the garlic and warm oil poultice. This one might sound old-fashioned, but trust me, there's a reason grandmothers across cultures swore by it. Garlic, especially when crushed fresh, releases a compound called allicin. It's one of nature's most potent anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial agents. Mix it with warm olive oil and apply it over your joints, and what you're doing is flooding that area with compounds designed to fight infection, reduce swelling, and soothe pain naturally. The smell might not win you any awards, but the relief might. I've seen people who've tried everything from steroid creams to cortisone shots come back weeks later, saying that a little garlic and oil before bed gave them more relief than anything else. Is it a cure? No. But is it a tool you can use every night, safely and affordably, to give your joints a break and help your cartilage breathe again? Absolutely. So here's what I want you to take away from this. So far, your joints aren't broken. They're burdened, they're tired, but they're not beyond help. With the right touch, the right circulation, and a little help from nature, they can begin to shift. And once that healing begins, everything else changes: your sleep, your energy, even your mood. You've probably noticed by now that healing doesn't come from a single solution. It comes from small acts of care repeated over time. That's especially true with joints. They don't heal in silence, they heal with circulation, warmth, patience, and attention. So let's keep going. Because if you've made it this far, that tells me one thing: you haven't given up on your body, and that matters more than you know. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get enough credit: Epsom salt baths. At first glance, it sounds too simple. A bath, you might say. That's your big secret. But here's what most people don't realize: this isn't just about soaking in warm water. Epsom salt is rich in magnesium sulfate, a mineral compound that plays a vital role in muscle and nerve function. When dissolved in a warm bath, it gets absorbed through the skin, and that's where the magic starts. Magnesium helps relax tight muscles, eases tension around joints, and most importantly, helps reduce deep tissue inflammation. It's like telling your nervous system, let go, it's okay now. That's something we don't hear often enough, especially as we age. When I speak to seniors, many of them carry this hidden pressure to stay strong, keep going, push through the pain. But what your joints really need sometimes is for you to stop, breathe, soak, and let nature do its part. I remember James, a 69-year-old former contractor who swore he'd never take a bath. Not my thing, he said. But after years of stiff knees and poor sleep, his wife finally convinced him to give it a try. He told me later with a grin, I still don't like candles or music, but those 20-minute soaks, they changed my nights. Sometimes healing means stepping outside our comfort zone and into the warm water. And if you don't have a tub, don't worry. A simple foot soak or even a knee soak in a basin of warm water and Epsom salt can bring localized relief. You'd be surprised how effective it is when done consistently, especially before bedtime. Because remember, when the body's relaxed, it's more open to regeneration. And cartilage, the soft tissue cushioning your joints, needs that relaxed healing state to repair and grow. Next up is a remedy that's as healing for the soul as it is for the joints: arnica tea compresses. Arnica is a flowering herb used for centuries in natural medicine to treat pain, bruising, and inflammation. But when prepared as a warm tea and applied directly to sore joints, it becomes something truly soothing. The gentle heat opens up your pores, allowing arnica's natural compounds to seep in and do their work. This isn't a quick fix, but if you apply an arnica compress regularly, especially in the evening, you'll begin to notice something: your joints feel looser. The swelling seems to back off, and there's this quiet sense of ease that starts to return. One viewer named Ellen in her late 70s told me, it felt like my knees were exhaling after months of holding tension. I couldn't have put it better myself. And there's a secret bonus: the ritual itself becomes part of your healing. Boiling the tea, preparing the cloth, sitting down with intention, it's an act of self-respect. It's telling your body you are worth this time, you are worth this care. That alone can change how you feel when you lie down at night. Let's talk now about a quiet champion in joint care: aloe vera. Known mostly for sunburns and skin irritation, aloe vera's benefits go much deeper. When you cut open a fresh aloe leaf, that cool gel inside contains enzymes, amino acids, and anti-inflammatory compounds that are perfectly suited for joint pain relief. When applied topically, aloe soothes the surface of the skin, reduces redness, and penetrates to calm inflamed tissues. But it also moisturizes, which matters more than you think. Healthy skin around the joints can improve elasticity and reduce tension in surrounding muscles. And when your skin is soft and supple, those healing compounds can reach deeper more effectively. One technique I often recommend is to mix aloe vera gel with a few drops of lavender essential oil. Not only does lavender enhance the anti-inflammatory effect, but it also promotes relaxation. And if you apply this blend before sleep, The scent of lavender alone can trigger the body's natural calming response, slowing your heart rate, easing your mind, and setting the stage for restorative sleep. People often forget that pain and sleep are deeply connected. Poor sleep increases inflammation. Inflammation increases pain. It's a vicious cycle. But simple remedies like aloe and lavender give your body a gentle push toward breaking that cycle. You don't need to knock yourself out with pills, you need to ease yourself into sleep with care. And that brings me to something I feel very strongly about green clay compresses. This may sound like something you'd find at a fancy spa, but don't let the name fool you. Green clay is earthy, affordable, and incredibly powerful. It draws out toxins from your tissues, reduces inflammation, and cools the surface of the skin, all while stimulating blood flow just beneath it. It's especially helpful after physical activity or on days when the weather turns damp and cold, days that seem to target your joints like a bullseye. When used, cold green clay provides almost immediate relief. And when you add a soothing herbal infusion like chamomile or arnica to the mix, you create a potent paste that doesn't just treat symptoms, it supports recovery at the root level. The application is simple. You just mix the clay with water or tea until it's creamy, spread it on the sore joint, cover it with a clean cloth, and rest for 30 minutes. The clay hardens as it pulls out impurities. And when you wash it off, there's often this lightness, a sense that something heavy has been lifted, even just a little. And let me remind you, none of this works unless you show up for yourself. The best remedy in the world is useless if it sits unused on a shelf. Healing comes from intention. It comes from consistency. It comes from believing that your body isn't too old or too far gone. It's just waiting for a little help to remember how strong it used to be. If you've stayed with me this far, that tells me something important about you. You believe in healing. You believe in the power of gentle, consistent care. You believe that even after 60, 70, or 80 years of living of wear and tear of aching knees and stiff hips, there's still hope. And you're absolutely right, because what you're about to discover could very well change the way you move, sleep, and feel. Let's talk about the star of this journey, the comfrey leaf. Now, you might not have heard of it before, or maybe it's something your grandmother once used in a poultice. But comfrey isn't just folklore. It's been quietly used for centuries by healers, farmers, and herbalists. Why? Because this humble-looking leaf contains allantoin, a compound that helps speed up cell regeneration, especially in skin, muscles, and yes, cartilage. That's right. Cartilage, the cushion in your joints that tends to wear down with age, is not easily restored. But comfrey doesn't just mask the pain like some over-the-counter creams. It supports actual rebuilding. That's like patching the pothole instead of just painting over it. Now let's be responsible here. Comfrey is very powerful, which means it should only be used externally. Never ingest it, and always use fresh, clean leaves. Here's the method that has worked wonders for many older adults I've worked with. Start by rinsing a few fresh comfrey leaves thoroughly. Then crush them gently until the juices begin to release. You can use a mortar and pestle, or simply your fingers if that's easier. Place the mashed leaf directly onto the painful joint, whether it's your knee, shoulder, or even your wrist. Then cover it with a warm, damp cloth. Let it rest there for about 40 minutes. What happens during those quiet minutes might feel subtle at first, a sense of cooling, maybe some warmth spreading through the joint, a loosening of tension. But over time, people often describe something amazing: the return of mobility, the quieting of chronic pain, the feeling of being lighter. I once worked with a retired ballet teacher, let's call her Jean. She was in her 80s and still tried to stretch every morning, but her knees had become her biggest enemy. She had tried creams, injections, and more supplements than she could count. When I suggested comfrey poultices 3 times a week, she laughed. "You mean that fuzzy little leaf," she said. But she gave it a try. And by week 3, her voice had changed. "I walked down the stairs without holding the rail," she whispered over the phone. "For the first time in 5 years." That's what this is really about. Not miracle cures, not overnight miracles, but restoring dignity one small step at a time. Comfrey can be your ally in that. But like any ally, it only works if you show up too. Now, if you can't get fresh comfrey leaves, there are dried versions and salves available at natural stores or online. But always make sure it's labeled for external use and preferably organic. And always do a small skin patch test before applying a large amount. And don't underestimate what combining these methods can do. Imagine this: a night routine that starts with a warm Epsom salt foot soak, followed by a gentle olive oil massage, then a Comfrey poultice wrapped softly around your knee. Maybe even a cup of calming chamomile tea nearby, and a soft lavender scent filling the room. That's not just joint care, that's soul care. That's telling yourself, I am still worth this time, I am still healing. You know, when we talk about aging, we often focus on what we've lost: flexibility, stamina, maybe even independence. But we forget that aging also brings us closer to wisdom, to stillness, and to a kind of strength that comes from experience. The world tells you that joint pain is just part of getting older, but I want to tell you something else: you deserve relief. You deserve comfort. And you can get better, not just manage pain, but truly feel more at home in your body again. So whether it's Comfrey ginger oil arnica tea or a warm bath after a long walk, these tools are here for you. They're simple, they're natural, and they're yours to use. And before we wrap up, I want to say this from the heart. If you've been waking up dreading that first step out of bed, if stairs feel like a mountain, if you've quietly stopped gardening, dancing, or playing with the grandkids because your joints just can't keep up, please know it's not too late. There are gentle ways to bring your body back into balance, but it all starts with you believing that your body still wants to heal. If this video gave you a spark of hope, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Tell me what remedies you've tried or what part of this resonated most with you. You never know who you'll help by sharing your story. And if you'd like more videos like this, natural ways to ease pain, boost energy, and feel strong again, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every click, every comment helps this message reach more people who need it. So here's to you. Yes, you, the one who decided to believe in healing. You've taken the first step. Keep going. Your body still remembers how to feel good, and together we're going to help it remember how to move freely again. Here's to living your best life at any age.